this is my path, and I know the path that I've been on to get here. And other people, and I can't explain it to every person and say, well, this is why I do this. And I can say, be who I am and explain it, but I can't explain it to everybody everywhere that they would understand. And so it just came to be that, I accepted Christianity as just another story, or not just another story, but as another story of explaining things, just like Buddhism is, shamanism is, and then, accepting paganism as, the way that I want to be spiritual and the way that I want to relate to nature and to my family, and, knowing the universe through astrology it's been, a great thing.
We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Think about what life would look like if you had the foundation to do the shadow work, understand where you're holding yourself back, and the confidence to bring some everyday magic elements into your life, follow your intuition, and know exactly the steps forward for you. Well, that's what we teach you and more in our Holistic Witchery program. Be sure to get on the wait list for Holistic Witchery. It's the one class we think everybody should take here at the Sisters Enchanted. It has changed so many lives and is at the core of all of our fundamental beliefs about who we are and how we propel ourselves forward in a way that makes great change for ourselves and those around us. Check out holisticwitchery.com, get on the wait list, and we can't wait to welcome you into class just as soon as enrollment opens. Welcome to this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast. I am Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and we have one of our community members and an internet friend of mine, Kelly Sroka, joining us again. Kelly's been here before. Kelly is in all of our community groups and and is back today. Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
How are you on this summer day?
Oh, it's great. It's been really, really hot here, but it's nice. It's summer, so I love it.
Yeah. So, okay. You probably know from past podcast recordings or maybe hearing an episode that at the end, sometimes I'm not going to do it today because I think I might have done it with you. I can't recall, but I'll ask people this or that, which one they prefer. So do you prefer summer is that your favorite season?
Yes, definitely. Summer is my favorite. I love just the sunshine, being outside, being in the heat, and, the heat and the humidity. When it gets, to 90, usually that's about my, but, it hardly gets that really hot here. But it is definitely my favorite season, followed closely by fall, which is my second favorite season, but definitely summer.
Yeah. So are you in North Carolina?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So from what I understand, I mean, I've driven through North Carolina. I've never stayed there. It's one of those sweet spots for temperature.
Yeah, it is. We get really, nice summers, and we get some snow, here and there, but not too much. And so
yeah,
I like it. It's really nice.
Here in Connecticut, we swing across the whole spectrum and it swings quickly and wild. Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to discuss the weather. Kelly and I were chatting before we hit record about just the changes as one ages, and because I was fiddling around with my camera and I'm not in my usual space, and I was displeased with the way that this lighting in my camera was making me look. And we were talking about how, we just adjust over time to who we are and have more confidence though in being who we are. And it's actually a great segue into talking today. So Kelly here is the founder of the Broom and Moon Coven. I love that name, by the way. It's so clever.
It's inspired by my tattoos. to have
Yes.
and a moon. So
We're going to talk about that for sure. And I thought it would be awesome to kind of pick Kelly's brain or just share about the transition from non-witch life to witch life, especially in midlife, when it might be more unexpected from those around you, or just kind of a different thing, and what that looks like. Because I know that there are a lot of people in our community who are midlife, or even I mean, we have people in Holistic Witchery who are 71 and 73, I think, and folks coming to us later in life. And so often the people who are really active in the community tend to be maybe 45 or younger, and folks might feel like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, or like, I just don't see my people. But the people are there, I know, because as the as the person who leads the Sisters Enchanted, a very large chunk of our community is 50 and beyond. And I think that hearing from you, Kelly, might give other people some just confidence in being themselves and not worrying so much about what others think. So I just talked a whole lot. Kelly, you now are the founder of the Broom and Moon Coven, but who was Kelly before you were the founder of the Broom and Moon Coven?
Yes, so I grew up in the South and had a very religious upbringing. Not, the real strict like Southern Baptists. There are some in my family, but I went to church every Sunday. Was in the choir, things like that. Got married, went to church, became Catholic. My husband is from the North, and so he migrated down, so I converted because I knew that he was Catholic, and I knew that he would want, our kids to grow up in the Catholic Church. And I kind of did too, because it's much older and there's lots more kind of ritual, which I think was, pushing me towards that, the path that I'm on anyway now, because I was just kind of getting older and more ritualistic. So, when in my early 20s and 30s and into my 40s, I was just mom. I was wife, mom. We had a farm, we had 3 kids, we homeschooled. So that's what I did. And I loved it. That's what I wanted to do. And I think it was very good because I was able to, my kids we adopted all 3 of my kids from different countries. And so they all have different backgrounds. And so we knew that we wanted them to have a very open, in a way they could explore anything that they wanted to explore. They wanted to, my daughter's from China, if she wanted to become a Buddhist, then, that would be fine with us. So we kind of had that openness, but at the same time, still in the church. And so I still felt that kind of, needing to be, PTA mom and all that kind of stuff, even though we were homeschooling and, kind of got away from it a little bit, it kind of opened it up. But then when my oldest son went off to college, that was kind of a turning point for me, because my kids are pretty close in age. And I knew that, he was the first, my daughter would not be too long after that. And then, my youngest son would be, coming along pretty soon. And then I would be done, and I would be done with homeschooling. I would be done with being mom of the kids. And it was really hard. And I just remember just crying, just sitting, doing something like washing the dishes and just crying, thinking, what am I going to do with myself? I don't know how to be anything but a wife and a mom and a homeschool teacher and, taking care of my home. So it took I started just with a meditation app, and just, thinking this will be good, this will be good for something that, when I just feel this grief, I can have something to go to. And so that kind of was the entry point into where I am now. And the meditation app, I started finding teachers who did other things, teachers who taught shamanism. So I, did that for a while, and then just kind of gradually went into the witchcraft path, and felt like that was ultimately me, and found along the way the Sisters Enchanted, which has helped me tremendously on this path, and always made me felt like that, even though I was, like you said, I was a lot older than some of the members, and some of them, a lot of them have young kids, and I was just not in that stage anymore. But it was still a very welcoming place because we had all of this in common, and I could share, my experience being, an older mom, but still have that same kind of in common of being in, finding witchcraft and finding, my spiritual path. And so I don't think at all that it is not a thing that you can do, in your 50s or your 60s or your 70s or whenever that you feel like it. So I think it's definitely something that you can do. And since then, since I'm not homeschooling anymore, and my kids are most of them are off on their own now, and we only have one. Well, I have two still at home, but I don't see them very much anymore. And just having that time, and so I could do whatever I wanted to do, and I got into tarot and just fell in love with tarot, and still do that a lot. I took astrology, the expedition astrology here, and just, that just opened up just a whole other, aspect of just knowing other people and knowing myself. And I did a crystal healing certification. I got my Reiki master. And so it's just all these things that I've done. And so then I thought, well, I want to share it now. I want to start sharing it and let people know, have, a safe space to come and be curious, or come and ask questions, or come and learn about new things. And so, but in a, a small group and environment, and do tarot readings and that kind of thing within just this format. So that's how it all came to be.
I love it. So I have some follow-up questions for you. One of the things that we hear from folks as well is how to reconcile religion, or if a person is Christian or Catholic, with these with witchcraft or spiritual practices. And I think that you mentioned, so you're from the South, your husband's from the North, and I know I'm from the North. So I know that here in Connecticut and New England area and New York in general, it's not my religious upbringing. I was actually, my grandparents are moving right now, and we were cleaning out their house, and we found these the prayers and benedictions that I wrote in elementary and middle school and read to the church, but I don't have any memories ever that were, not pleasant of my church. It was very open, and they're like, yeah, I don't know, do what you will, and shared ghost stories. And so I think that in where I am, to me, it's not something I ever really think about, is that you can't be Christian and a witch. You can't be Catholic and a witch. But I think that we have a lot of folks from the South or the Bible Belt who just struggle with reconciling those things. So can you share at all in your experience having a little bit of both there? And then with Catholicism, certainly there's a spectrum there of I guess how tightly people follow the tenets of Catholicism. My husband grew up Catholic also, and I certainly know Catholics who are very Catholic, don't believe in contraception, and really are Catholic. And then my husband's family, they went to mass and all the things, but certainly did not check all those boxes. So can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, I think that was one of the hardest things for me to get over, because it was just so ingrained in me, all the stories, all the Bible, just having one God and things like that. And I think what I finally came to, and once, studying Catholicism and studying the Bible and studying paganism as well, and seeing how it's all interwoven, that's really all the things that Catholics do are based on things that, pagans did. And my question, even, back then, was, why is paganism so bad? Because it's what everything, we do now is based on. And so I think what I've come to realize is studying, studying other things, like studying shamanism, studying astrology, studying Buddhism, things like that, is they're all stories, and they're all ways that we explain the things that we don't know. And so the Bible is a great story. And, I love reading, I did love reading the Bible a lot. I don't do it as much as I used to, but it's a great story. And that's what, one of the things that, when I was growing up in the church, I always had a hard time with, even then, is people who took the Bible so seriously, that it's the gospel, and it's, everything is true. I'm like, well, everything is not true. It was written by men. It was written in a time, at a different time and place, when different things were happening. And so it can't be, we have to adapt it, but, that doesn't, of course, happen in the church. So that was definitely a hard thing. And it's still a hard thing, because I still have family, very close family that's, very religious, and they just kind of look at me like, you're doing what?
Yeah.
And I have to explain, well, it's not whether what you think. But that was definitely one of the hardest things. And for me, accepting it as, this is my path, and I know the path that I've been on to get here. And other people, and I can't explain it to every person and say, well, this is why I do this. And I can say, be who I am and explain it, but I can't explain it to everybody everywhere that they would understand. And so it just came to be that, I accepted Christianity as just another story, or not just another story, but as another story of explaining things, just like Buddhism is, shamanism is. And then, accepting paganism as, the way that I want to be spiritual, and the way that I want to relate to nature and to my family, and, knowing the universe through astrology, is just, it's been, a great thing. So it is hard. And I think that's one thing that comes up in discussions a lot, because people were raised to believe one way, and it's just so hard to do that. But I think, accepting it in a way that is, you can accept it, and it can go alongside something else. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Some people choose one or the other, but it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah. I know. In my family, I always use my grandmother as an example, but I have an aunt who I'm not close with at all. She's actually my mom's stepsister, and she's never lived near me or anything, but we're Facebook friends, and she'll see things on Facebook, and then she'll go to like whisper it to my grandmother. I don't know why, to just stir the pot or something. My grandmother and I are very close. So, but she mentioned something about altars, that I have altars, and my grandmother was asking my mom, what is this about altars? What? And I think that there's, people might hear from just pop culture or like movies or something. You think of like witches and altars, and you think, I don't know, like the movie Hocus Pocus with like the bad book and the black flame candle, or like sacrificial something or other. I think people just think that from books or movies or whatever. And I guess my mother explained to her, like, no, like, an altar it's like it could be all these photos you have on this one table of the family with you. My grandmother has this table with all these photos, and a little like china angel and a little bell. And my mom was like that could be a family altar, and you you look at it and you say how grateful you are for your family or whatever. But there is, I think, that for some people, definitely just a barrier to words, and as they've heard them and received them, and that can be a challenge. And I think you don't necessarily have to pick one or the other. I think you can still be, attend church if you want to, and also light yourself a love candle if you want to. I think you can do both.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah. So I think I've asked you this before on the podcast, but we'll it's in line with our conversation today. So this transformation of yours, how did your husband, how was that for you?
Luckily, my close family, my husband and my kids, they are all very accepting of it. And they, I think they get tired of me dragging them into yet another crystal store, but they are very accepting of it. My husband has always been, open to what, I want to do. And when I started because I think he always knew too, that deep down inside that this was coming one day, and that something, was going to be different along the way. And, he's kind of come to realizations of himself, even though he's more, more into Christianity than I am. He still kind of realizes that there's a lot of holes in Christianity, and there's a lot of things that have not done right, and there's a lot of things that are not good about it, but then there's a lot of things that are good about it. And so he's kind of he's a Libra, so he likes to see both sides, and he's studied Christianity and the Bible as much as he's studied Buddhism and Muslim, and so in Islam. So he is very accepting, and my kids are, they all have different, paths that they're on. And so they're just kind of like, yeah, mom's a witch, we're just, we're okay with that. So now outside of my family, like my dad, he still has a little bit of, I'm not quite sure what you're doing. So I just kind of, I just don't tell him, a lot bit, just tell him enough and let him understand. And and there's other people that I grew up with in my close family, that I know would probably say, you're not on a good path, and all that kind of stuff. But again, they don't know me and how that I've gotten here. And so, I think for them, I would explain it and just say, this is the path that I'm on, and I know I'm on the right thing for me. So that's been, a little bit tricky, but, so far it's been okay, and everybody's been accepting, and, my family's been accepting, which has been great, because I know that doesn't happen in a lot of families. And so, but, luckily here it has.
Yeah, I think it's, just for anybody listening, I think it's always a spectrum for people, even like as the founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and I'm very proud of everything we've done and our success. But there are definitely times and circumstances and where my husband and I, people might ask, well, what do you do? Or what is this business you run? And depending on the person, we both sort of fumble for who's going to speak, because, I am proud. And it's also occasionally, depending on the circumstance, a dance as to what kind of conversation I'm about to get into, and it's not so much of hiding myself as to looking at my own energy and what am I available for right now, and how well do I know this person, and like, where am I, and and what's this going to turn into? Because not everybody is just like, oh, that sounds fun or interesting. Some people are immediately like, shut down, has something negative to say. And so I think there is always a balance in who you share with and how you share with them, depending on your energetic availability.
Right. It's definitely not something that, I can go and just tell everybody. But at the same time, I still, try to, bring that into, bring that with me, that energy with me wherever I am. And if there's people who don't approve, then, they just don't approve. And I just have to, live with that, which is okay.
So, what was it like getting your fabulous witch tattoos? Because if if you didn't want the world to know, it's sort of hard. It's like you walk into my house and I have this big broom hanging on the wall in one room, and then another broom in another room, and like this sign that says "The witch will see you now." So, like, you come to my house and there's, immediately you're like, interesting choice of decor, and you carry yours on your body. So share with us about your witchy tattoos and what that meant for you and what it was like getting them.
Yeah, the first one I got was my moon, which is, it's very subtle, and it's very, my husband had a tattoo, and he, decided, when I turned 50, that I should do, is get a tattoo too. So we both have this one. He got this one too. And so he did it with me. And it's pretty easy to explain if somebody, doesn't really believe in it. You can just say, oh, well, it's the moon, it's life cycles, it's kind of things like that. But then I got tired of, saying that. And so I'm just like, oh, this is my witch moon tattoo. This is my cycle of the moon. And so then, I knew I wanted to get something else, but I didn't know what. And I looked at several different things, and, nothing really stood out. And then I saw on Instagram a woman who had a broom tattoo on her hand, and it was right here. And I thought, oh, that's it. I'm going to get that. And when I went to the tattoo artist, she said, well, if you get on your hand, it's going to just fade away really quick. And she said, you can do it on your arm or something like that. And so now, it's on my arm.
It is a good size tattoo, my friend.
Yes. And, it had to be kind of big because to get the detail in it, and that she was really good about, talking about it and, thinking, and I thought, well, this is, it's no turning back now, because in the summer, unless I want to wear long sleeves all the time, then, people are going to see it, and at the gym and, wherever else I go. And it's been fine. Nobody has ever said anything to me about it. The only people that have remarked on it have liked it. And I can, and I think, well, if I were pressed and if I thought that somebody was really going to be offended, I might just say, well, it's a broom because I'm homeschooled, and, my home is my, special place and things which is true. But, now I'm just like, it's my witch tattoo. So.
Yeah. I love it. I love your confidence, and I love your transition story. And I think, because some people, what I love about you sharing, Kelly, is that some folks are really like, just be yourself, just put it out there. Who cares what other people say? Which is all well and good to say. But I think the reality is that most of us also have these thoughts of like, am I ready to just, not care? Or am I ready for that uncomfortable conversation? Or, that's not everybody has that, like, just put it out there and who cares? And I think that we can all work towards that. And obviously you are certainly, I just knowing some of your stories recently where you are just working on, who cares what they think? Who cares what the mom at the park with their kids thinks? Who cares? But I think more people sharing that it's not just as easy as not caring. If it was as easy as not caring, then we'd all walk around wearing whatever we want to wear, like not looking in the mirror, not second guessing ourselves. So I appreciate you sharing these little bits of like the thoughts behind, what could happen or what you might say or do, because I think that that's the reality for most people, myself included.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It's just, if I want people to respect me and my past and what I've chosen, I feel like that I need to respect, if I know that somebody is, very religious and might be, offended or, is not going to be very understanding, then, I respect that too. And I think that's just a choice, and not try to say, not try to change their mind or, argue, but just say, I understand, I definitely understand your feelings about it. And, these are my feelings, but, and be as respectful to them as, I am, and that I would like people to be to me. So,
Yeah. And I think also, like I said before, with that is also caring for yourself, because some conversations just are not worth walking into. They just aren't. And so protect your own peace also,
yes.
I think is important. Kelly, your website, is it kellysroka.life? Is that accurate? kellysroka.life. And you are on Instagram at Kelly_Sroka_life.
That's me.
That's you. So you can find Kelly on her website, on Instagram, and her Patreon community, the Broom and Moon Coven. And Kelly's in all the community groups here at the Sisters Enchanted. So you could totally say hi to her also. She's very nice, as you have heard. Very easy person to say hello to.
Yes.
And Kelly, you also offer tarot readings and other things on your website. So
yes. Tarot coaching, tarot readings. So it's all there.
Yeah, I totally recommend check out Kelly, particularly if you feel like you can relate to Kelly's story and are maybe transitioning, or if you're a community member here at the Sisters Enchanted who is kind of not sure what to say or how to participate in the communities. Because I know that when you see some people who are so willing to share and you don't know like really what to share or how to just jump in there, I think that Kelly is a great resource for a reading and tarot coaching, and maybe even helping you get out of your own way a little bit.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Kelly, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that I got to come back, and again, just so glad to be part of this community, because it's such a wonderful place to be. Everybody is so nice and kind, and it's a great place. So I really appreciate all that you all and all the Sisters Enchanted do. So it's great.
Well, thank you. All right, everyone. Well, be sure to check out everything Kelly's got going on. All the links will be in all of the usual link places. And until next time, we hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead.
If you liked this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it will really help us spread everyday magic, intention, and intuition to the masses, and helps us so much as a small business. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. There are new episodes every Tuesday and astro forecasts for the week ahead every Friday. If there's any topics you'd want to hear, anything you want us to dive deeper into, shoot us an email at magic@thesistersenchanted.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening and being part of the community here at the Sisters Enchanted. And we'll see you in the next episode.